Black Lives Matter is a political organization that does not care about black people. How's it going out there? I'm your host, Talking Face, and this could be news brought to you by Royal Family Studios. I hope you all enjoyed your 4th of July Day weekend. Hope y'all shot off some fireworks, ate good barbecue, and remembered what this country was built on. The foundations that our forefathers put ahead of us in the Declaration of Independence. But according to the news media, everything is still racist in America, especially this holiday, Independence Day.
Donald Trump chose the most grandiose symbol of U.S. imperialism on Earth to usher in a very on-brand star-spangled spectacle.
The mother of all photo ops, Mount Rushmore, and we know why this president just can't resist going there.
President Trump will be at Mount Rushmore, where he'll be standing in front of a monument of 2 slave owners and on land wrestled away from Native Americans.
We have to acknowledge that Mount Rushmore is sitting on Lakota land.
The place Donald Trump is going to on Friday is stolen land.
Just say that you want to tear down every statue in the United States. Just say that. I mean, except for the one in Seattle of Lenin. But every other one should fall. These people even took down the statue and vandalized statues of Frederick Douglass. You know, Frederick Douglass, the former slave who became a free man and an abolitionist. He's not even good enough for the mob, these woke people. And it's all because they're being led by groups like Black Lives Matter. And I really don't like Black Lives Matter because, for one thing, is they're hiding behind that saying when in all actuality, they're a political organization. People who donate to Black Lives Matter never ask themselves, I wonder where this money goes. Well, it goes to the Democratic caucus. Act Blue, I believe, is the name of the organization. But that's neither here nor there. My issues with Black Lives Matter stems from them not caring about black lives. They only want to make noise when it's a white police officer against an unarmed black man. Even if that unarmed black man becomes armed in that situation, that's the only thing they fight against. They want to fight against. Instead of speaking up for the 5 children who were killed over the 4th of July weekend, people are without their children now because of the simple fact that protesters / rioters decided because they was in their feelings and they're being led by Marxists. And yes, they are Marxists. The women who started Black Lives Matter are Marxists. I mean, they even admit it.
I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories. And I think that what we really try to do is build a movement that could be utilized by many, many black folk.
She just went on and told the whole world that Black Lives Matter is using black people for this Marxist movement. If you don't know, Marxism is bad. Only 9 unarmed black men were killed by police officers last year. There were more people killed in the riots than there was unarmed police officers last year. Over the weekend, there was 25 shootings in Atlanta alone. We don't pay attention to the real problems. We'd rather have white people or the news media or quote unquote black leaders try to tell us what to do, and it doesn't make sense. You kill your own people. I mean, it took everything in me to try to watch these videos of parents who are without their children because of rioters and because Black Lives Matter has pretty much just added kerosene to a fire and walked away from it. I mean, in Seattle, a 19-year-old was killed, and what his dad has to say is just heartbreaking.
What's going on? So I go ask the lady, and she tells me, hold on. So I wait. I couldn't go in, so I'm waiting for a long time. Then she tells me to come in, and then the doctor tells me, only thing he tells me is my son's deceased. I'm like, well, can I see him? Is it my son? Because you got to realize, at this time I'm going like, is it really my son? I want to know, is it my son? Mm-hmm. Because this could be somebody else's child, But, I'm, in my head, I'm going like, yeah, it's mine because everybody's saying this. But in my heart, I'm going like, I need to see him I need to see him one time. Just to make, so I can see him. I couldn't see him that day. That was Saturday. It took all the way till, Thursday. I just seen him just last week. Just Thursday, and they had to, whatever they did to him and make him so they presentable, whatever it was. But I needed, I got to finally see him, and then in my heart, I knew it was my son now. This is my son, because, I wouldn't want nobody else's son. And this is incredible. These kids, and the kids that passed, what happened the other day, all this on this child. Man, this is incredible. These are kids, man. I'm 50 years old. Man, these are kids, man. They should have been stopped this a long time ago. It's starting to get, excuse me, but it's getting to the point, where, it's getting.
I'm so sorry.
Just really.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Anderson.
In Atlanta, where an 8-year-old little girl was killed, outside the Wendy's where protesters are continuously protesting about Rashad Brooks, and they got upset because she crossed the line. She's 8 years old, but her grieving parents had this to say.
They say Black Lives Matter. You killed your own. Killed your own this time. Just because of barrier. They killed my baby because she crossed the barrier and made a U-turn. You killed a child. She ain't do nothing to nobody.
They didn't give us time to make a U-turn. They started shooting on my car before we could even make a U-turn. Shooting my tires out, like, why?
Well, Black Lives Matter.
My baby was shot in her bed.
Killing your own.
Nobody there to help
You
me.
killed an 8-year-old child.
Nobody.
She ain't did nothing to now one of y'all. She just wanted to get home to see her cousin. That's all she wanted to do. She just wanted to get home.
40% of black babies are aborted each year. The number one leading cause for a white young man to die is a car accident. The number one cause for a black young man is another black young man. We're 13% of the population and commit half of the crimes. We make up 37% of the prison population. 70% of our children are born to single moms. The literacy rate in Democrat-ran cities across the United States for young black men is abysmal. 9 unarmed black people were killed by the police last year. What's really the problem plaguing the black community? I'm going to leave y'all with this video from an actual civil rights activist having a little chat with Tucker Carlson of Fox News. I'm your host, Talking Face, Royal Family Studios. Y'all stay prayed up, stay safe. Peace.
Bob Woodson has seen all of this. He was a part of the original civil rights movement more than 50 years ago, and he's been chronicling the fate of our cities ever since. He's the founder of the Woodson Institute, and we're always pleased to have him on the show. Mr. Woodson, thanks so much for joining us. What do you make of what's happening?
Well, it's been part of a trend for 10 years, but the left has abandoned all pretense of really fighting for social justice. Low-income blacks are just collateral damage to their efforts to just demean and destroy these civic institutions in this country. Not only that, Tucker, But the children, some of the statistics, 75% of these murders, no one's ever arrested. So that means that in these cities where these murders are occurring, and also, as you say, the police are vilified. In Virginia legislature, for instance, is trying to reduce assault on the police officers to a misdemeanor. Can you imagine if he said the same thing about blacks? We want to reduce assault on blacks to a misdemeanor, what the outcry would be? But this person feels as if they can do this to a police officer. But it means that our children are dying, and low-income blacks are the ones who are suffering the most in this outrage. And Black Lives Matter, they are not answering the question then, if racism were the single culprit, why are black children and black people dying and being destroyed in institutions run by their own people?